I'm taking Lucas file because I did the test on this. So I opened the mod file in ArchiCAD. I'm really not that good with ArchiCAD, so if I do weird things, bear with me. Then I exported it with the hello. There we go. I turned it on like this. When you make the 3D file, you can save a bit of time later on if you manage to do your extrusion without these weird pieces down here, for example. And then you can get maybe a cleaner model if you extrude and hide this by adding, I don't know, an extra layer here on the side, or doing the road extrusion just 1 meter. I have no idea what kind of element this is, but it's just creating this little flickering effect because both polygons are on the same layer. So if you manage to disable this, you'll get a better looking model. Apart from this, it looks really good. I think this method is really good. The roads are very clean and everything. So once you have this, you can export the 3D model from the. So you have to have the 3D view activated, and you can save as to export, and you. So what I used is the Cinema 4D plugin that you can download if you search on the internet for Cinema 4D export from ArchiCAD, and it's a free plugin. But you can also export with 3D wavefront or 3ds. This 3ds file works, I think, quite well. I'm going to do it with the 3ds because it's by default. So I'm going to do this with this format, and you want to keep the default here. The only thing is I'm going to scale it up by 1000. So now it's 1 unit is 1 millimeter, but I want to say 1 unit is 1000 millimeter. So the model get exported a bit bigger, otherwise it's really small. And then I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to come here and wait for the export to finish. So if you export the wavefront file, you get an object, and this is an object file. And if your export is clean and all good and everything, you can directly go into Reality Converter. This application that's also free from Apple. I'm gonna send you a link to download it because you have to have an Apple account to download it, but you can get it from the school server as well. And you can just drag and drop the object file into this Reality Converter, and it will create the appropriate 3D file for the augmented reality. But Reality Converter does not let you edit anything. So if the scale is wrong or if the model is flipped or anything, you can't correct it in here. So I'm just importing it now just to have a look. It takes a while, and while this is running, I'm gonna import the 3ds that we just exported and send it to Cinema 4D. So just drag and drop, scale, OK, and wait for it to import. And I'm gonna go back here, and for some reason it failed. So yeah, I don't really know why. Yeah, anyway, when you export straight from ArchiCAD, you always have something a bit weird that you need to edit. So here is our model in Cinema 4D, and I guess you're not super familiar with Cinema 4D, so a quick tutorial on how to use it. I see our first problem is that this is all 1000 elements without groups, so that's not ideal. I think this is why the Cinema 4D plugin was better, because it keeps object groups. Instead here we will have to regroup everything. So let's use this this Cinema 4D export plugin instead. Okay, so it's exported. Open it. Okay, and then now we see the different groups. So you can click this little plus button, shows you the hierarchy. I'm gonna delete these cameras and lights. We don't need it. And then we don't see anything. And this is because the model is either really far from the origin or is really, really small or really big. I don't really know. It's one of these things. So we need to do a little bit of work to find and scale the model properly. And one of the things you can do is open one of these group, click on some polygons. It's those little blue triangles. And then go here on the edit modes and go into point edit modes. And then come over the central area and do a Command A, select all on the keyboard. And then hit S, the S shortcut. And this is gonna zoom into whatever you have selected. So select the polygon, Command A to select the points, and then S key on your keyboard, and that zooms onto whatever you have selected. So in this case, it's this guy here. And now I have selected this, and you can see that the model is extremely small. This element here, I don't know, that's the positioning. Yeah, it's not too small actually, 4 meters by something. Let's see, why is it so... Yeah, it's a little bit big. It's a little bit big because you see now it's clipping. When I zoom away from it, it disappears. This is called clipping. It's when a model is too big, the software will cut it to hide the pieces which are too far away from the camera. So what I'm gonna do now is try to... Well, the first thing I'm gonna do is now I have all these groups and I'm gonna identify what is what. So if you go on these little dots here, you can hide and show elements by clicking on it. It's hide and show groups. And if I hide this group, yeah, the walls have disappeared. This is the buildings. This is the terrain. I'm just gonna rename it for me. Buildings, walls, and then this is the roads, huh? Okay, so to speed up the work in Cinema 4D, I'm just gonna group all these guys together. So I select them and then I go right click, connect object and delete, and it just makes one object out of all these roads. And then here I'm gonna do the same thing for all these objects here. Connect object and delete, and then the last one here. Yeah, this is the one that's the most troublesome because there is a lot of polygons. So what is this noise? Connect object and delete. And that's going to take a minute because there is a lot of polygons in this group. Okay, and then this last one I'm going to do this as well, just so I get something clean. Okay, so I have just now 4 big polygon groups, and if I select them like this, yeah, they're quite big. They're like real scale 1:1, and for Cinema 4D it's really big. So I'm gonna scale it down. So I select the top group ArchiCAD, and then I come down, and then I go back into the object mode. So I'm in point editing mode. So I go back to object mode here on the left. Then I come back here to the size, and then I select scale. And then I'm gonna scale it down 10 times. So 0.1, hit enter, and boom, it's scaled down. And then now I need to do my trick again to find it. So I selected an object, go into point mode, select all, zoom, and then I find it. And I think we have another problem. Yeah, the other problem we have is every object has a coordinate. So the object can be somewhere, but then its reference, this blue three color arrows, can be somewhere else. So if I come in the origin editing mode, I can move my origin for this object. Then I can freeze it again. I disable the system, and you see now I can move the object. So if I come here, I can move the origin. If I come here, I move the object and the origin. So the problem we have here is that some of these objects have their origin really far away. And that's a problem because the computer can't show both of them because they're so far away. So we need to center the origin to the object. And to do this, you select the top object, you come to Mesh, Axis Center, and then you say, I want to center my axis to the points. So the points are these points we activated earlier. And I want to include all children's objects, and I want to use all objects, so groups, everything, and then execute. And then now, if I go like here, why didn't it work for this guy? Yeah, we still have some stuff which are far away. Let's see if I forgot something. Axis. Alignment. Yeah, maybe I forgot to check this. Point center. Let's see now. Okay, yeah, so the thing is now we're really far away from the origin, so I want to bring everything back to the, I want to bring all this back to the origin of Cinema 4D. So I've run the command, and then now we see that we're really far away. So I want to input 0, 0, 0, and this position is the position of whatever I have selected. So here's the top object, hit apply, and then it still really doesn't work, but I don't know, that's gonna be good enough. And then now we're at the center of the world. If I create a new object, yes, it comes here at the center. That's good. So now we can start editing this, this model. And what we want to do is first edit the geometry, which we don't want to see. So I'm going to select this guy, go into point mode, select the rectangle selection, and then I can delete these points I don't want to see. And for some reason there is more. So all these go. And then here there is this I don't want as well, so goodbye. And this is good for the selection. And one, yeah, I'll do this at the end. And then now is the time to just clean up some polygons. So I'm going to go into polygon editing mode. It's this cube here at the bottom. And when you select a polygon, you can polygon group, you can see the polygons. And now if I select all these polygons, I see they are all orange, and this is good. It means they're all flipped the right side. So I'm going to go to the next group, and here we have some problems. You see the roofs are blue and the walls are orange. It means that these polygons are flipped. They're not looking the right way up. And there is a command to automatically flip the polygons. So once you have selected your polygons, right click, and first of all you want to run the optimize command. It's here. And then you want to run the align normal commands. And you see, for some buildings it worked quite well, but for some it didn't. And there is no magic way to do it. You have to do it manually. So we want to come back here, long click on this icon, live selection tool, select the polygons which are in blue, right click, and then you want to reverse this selection. So not align polygon, align is automatic, an automatic command, reverse is just going to flip them. And now they're flipped. So if I select everything, I can see where the blue polygons, and I can keep doing this little work to flip them. So here I hit the shift key, I select them, and then flip again. So you want to do this maybe once, so I would recommend that you export your site only once, and then you do this cleanup once, and then you only export your project after that, so you don't have to do this cleaning all the time. For now, I'm going to stop there, but you get the idea. And then we want to do textures, so we're going to delete all these tags here on the polygons. And now we have no texture and no tags. And this is a part I haven't really explored yet with the AR, but I'm gonna do some tests and then come back to you to make good textures. But the basics are to create a new texture, you double click into this window down here. Then you double click on the texture items, and then you can come here and just change the color. So we're gonna do one dark gray and then one lighter gray. And we're gonna say we want the terrain to be light, we want the roads to be clear, and maybe the buildings to be clear as well. So just drag and drop, and you can see here my textures have been applied to the model. And then the last thing, I think it's important for this, that we're gonna try to export it like this. So once this is done, we want to export from Cinema 4D. First, we want to just check the scale of this model. So I'm gonna create I'm gonna select this guy here, go into point mode, select all the points, and I see it's 6 meters by 6 meters, so it's still a bit too big. So I wanna make this a bit smaller. So let's say we're gonna reduce it another 10 times. So 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. I have selected the top element to do this transformation, and then now it's much smaller. So now we can export it. So yeah, the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to move it up a little bit. You see this grid? This grid here is the zero of my world. So I want to move it just so it's on above this. I still have something here. I want to take this out. Bye-bye. Okay. Okay. Oh. What did I do with the buildings? There we go. I just moved them in the ground. Okay, so now we export this. So export, and then we want to export in wavefront object. I'm going to save this here, default options. And I'm going to come into my reality converter, import the object file, and then now it's okay in reality converter. There is just one thing, it has these weird artifacts, and this is because the polygons are now not softened, or there's no Fong tag, so we need to just add a Fong tag so this looks better. So I'm gonna come back, select my polygons, Cinema 4D, right click on them, go to Cinema 4D, and then add a Fong tag, and then activate the angle limit. And what this does is when you have a sharp corner, it makes a nice break, and then when you have a soft corner, it kind of blends the polygon. And you see if I deactivate it, you get hard breaks everywhere, and then you get softer things like this. And I'm going to save it and re-export it again. Same name, overwrite, okay. And then this is going to reload it automatically. And you can see now it's much better. My texture, my polygons are much cleaner. The only thing, the textures didn't load. Why is this? Yeah, I haven't really researched the textures. What I did the last time is I put a color image, and I think I need to do this for the textures to work. But this I'll come back with another tutorial to show you. But once you're in Reality Converter and you have mapped your textures and everything, which I'll show you another time, you can come to the export menu, and then it's going to create this USDZ file that you can then export like this. And you can open this then on an iPad or an iPhone, and it will be an AR object that you can position. And that's the easy and simple workflow to do AR.